Hey there, MJ friends. We got a whole bunch of tickers to look at. We're going to look at the big five. We're going to look at the tier 2, 3. We're going to look at VFF, TGOD, and KHRN getting added to the mix. And then we're going to look at US names KSHB, CURA, GTII, CWeb, and IAN. Lots going on out there. Again, this is when the sector is the most fun, when stocks are all doing their own thing. Correlations are fading a bit. We can have CGC with some bearish news and down 3-4%, but still see names up 5-6% or more. So always nice that we can jump around and look at individual names as opposed to having everybody doing the same thing, and we just have to pick, a couple of those names and everybody's going to be doing the same thing. So S&P 500 today lost the hourly uptrend, starting some daily consolidation there, still maintaining the higher low uptrend, but that is a daily uptrend that we're watching, because obviously when we lose that for the first time since the dump bottom in December, that's going to be a notable shift that we'll be keeping an eye on. So we had the accounting error on CGC, or just misreporting, where the numbers that they gave were not entirely correct, and so that was a bearish news received after hours. We saw a gap down open and weakness today. So we're still looking at the broader pattern of an equilibrium, and I think this is going to dictate where we are going to break in terms of where we're going to be heading in March. So we got our high, low, lower high, and we're looking for that higher low compared to 41.68. The hourly time frame with extended hours on for CGC is in the 30s. So if we do drop down into the low 40s and approach that 41.68 resistance, that's going to be in oversold hourly conditions. That's what I'm going to be looking for, the potential of an oversold bounce, utilizing that support as a bit of a guide and watching to stay in this tightening range. If we see increasing bear volume, the odds that we break 41.68 will increase. And if volume stays as it has the last couple days, we'll be looking for the bulls to maintain support and stay within this pattern. Cron and APHA, out of the major names, continue to stand out as the lead bulls. Cron's been doing it forever, and APHA recently joining in. So Cron had the bull break of 22.05 and has seen nothing but follow through. A little bit of an upper wick of profit taking today. 25.10 is the all-time high. Certainly not anticipating to break that level without seeing support established. So we've been bouncing ever since 1886 with a higher low every single day since then, and that's now 6 days in a row. So I anticipate that we are going to need to consolidate and form a daily higher low before we get up to that 25.10 resistance level. We'll be watching the hourly uptrend. Look at that guide. And this is why I use these exponential moving averages, the 12 and the 26 period. Crypto opened my eyes to them, but they're just great visual guides time and time again. Play around with them. Don't use them, but experiment with them and see how the price reacts to them. And then once you get comfortable with them, you can then use them, as I do, as a bit of a target for support and resistance levels. So on the hourly here, we just have a clear stair-step uptrend pattern ever since 1886. So again, just like when SPY loses the daily uptrend for the first time in 9 weeks, it's going to be very notable. When Cron loses the hourly uptrend for the first time in 7 days, that will be notable as well. So anything above 21.66 is a higher low on Cron, and we had consolidation at the end of the day, looking for another higher low to be found. Resistance 22.90 and 22.96. Bulls have a lot of space to work with because we don't have any clear hourly support level to break aside from that 21.66 level. So we could pull back 4% and still be above that hourly support. So keeping an eye on that hourly uptrend for Cron to indicate daily consolidation, and we'll look for a daily higher low to form due to the size of the bounce over the last 7 days. APHA trying to march its way up to 1095, continuing the bullish momentum. And one thing that stands out, obviously, is, again, like I said, the individual names doing their own thing regardless of CGC. But when I saw CGC was down, testing $44 this morning pre-market, and just missed a nice entry at $44 pre-market and didn't chase it because liquidity is not good for larger positions pre-market. But when I saw CGC down that much, and I looked and I saw APHA still setting up for a gap up open and Cron was break even, that was very notable that it was completely disregarding CGC weakness. And again, that's great for the sector. I'd love to see that as short-term traders. That just gives us more opportunity. So we're watching the hourly uptrend on APHA as well. That hourly uptrend, similar to Cron, hasn't been intact for 7 days, but it looks like it's been intact for about 5 days at this point. And so support right now, anything above 985 is an hourly higher low. We're pulling back right now, trying to form another hourly higher low, but we haven't bounced enough off of that support level to call that our new hourly higher low just yet. So 1029 is support, then the low of the day, 1020. But as far as the hourly uptrend goes, just like Cron, a lot of space to work with to still maintain those higher lows. If we lose the hourly uptrend on APHA, we're setting up for a big old equilibrium, and we'll look for a higher low to form somewhere in the upper $9 area if we lose the hourly uptrend. If not, we're still going to be looking up towards 1053 and then 1095 resistance. ACB, so we got that higher low on the daily time frame yesterday, but the bulls did not get the follow through that they were hoping for on today's action. So looking on the daily time frame, and we have our low, high of the earnings bounce, higher low, and if we can't break 747, it's a lower high, and it looks like we are seeing some resistance now at 725. So same thing, lose the hourly uptrend, and we're going to look for a daily higher low to form. Right now, the most important support levels are 7 and 697. If we lose those two levels, we're heading back down to 680. Bulls want a little bit more follow through, but it's a nice tightening pattern to be watching, and we're anticipating a break of this pattern next week. TLRY, no follow through as well. Here's a good example of a fake out, and TradingView is taking its sweet time, probably because I have 15 tabs open. But we got a bull break. So you've heard me talk in the past, if you've been watching these videos, about how the bulls need to prove themselves in the first 10, 20 minutes of trading to give confidence in continuation. So the high of yesterday was 82.50, and we broke that level first thing, but we get an instant red flag and a big red flag. If you're going to break resistance, the last thing you want to see is to break a new low of the day right after that happens. So looking at it on the 2-minute time frame, we broke resistance in the first 4 minutes of trading, and then literally 4 minutes or so after we broke that resistance, we're at a new low of the day. So again, that is a huge red flag, and that is your early bail signal. That's the kind of signal where you enter on that bull break of 82.50. That's a fine entry. There's nothing wrong with that. And obviously, technical analysis is not perfect, and there's going to be times where 90% probable setups don't work out. And in this instance, knowing when to bail real quick is certainly going to help you out. So if we break that low of 81.44, you eat that small loss, but you avoid getting stuck in a position where you're then having to hold and down in the 78, 79 range. So that could help you avoid, you eat a 1% loss or so, but you can skip the 3 to 4% loss where if you don't recognize that signal that you need to exit on that complete turnaround and new low of the day. So where we stand on the daily time frame for TLRY, we got our bull break, but a fairly weak close. And again, the weekly equilibrium is what we're watching on TLRY, and it's continuing to tighten at this point. Anything under 89.88 is just a lower high, and our support that must hold is 75.25. This is the range to be watching right now in this tightening pattern that has been playing out at this point for 2.5 months, and it is going to break sometime in the next 2-3 weeks, in my opinion. And maybe even a little bit sooner. If the bears do take right back over and take us down towards 75, that support is not that far away. We're talking about 6% or so. So keep an eye on TLRY's weekly time frame. TRST, nice follow through for the bulls. And VFF had its first day on the uplisting here for the NYSE, and it performed really well. It had huge bull volume. We closed the day up 12%. At the height of the day, we were up maybe 15+%. And that's a good sign for TRST bulls, because all that's going to do is convince bulls to hold longer. If you go 15% on the first day of uplisting on huge bull volume, you're going to say, all right, I'm going to hold till at least the first day of listing on TRST. And that's coming up here on Monday, the 25th. And again, an inside bar bull break, first thing, 1176, follow through over 1191, and a really nice strong close. So we're going to be looking for potential continuation into tomorrow. Tomorrow's the last trading day on the OTC on the US side of things before we head over to the uplisting on Monday. So keeping an eye out for these bulls to try and keep that control at least into tomorrow. And I made a statement in the MST Facebook group, Marijuana Stocks Trader. If you're not in that group and you are a trader or investor in the marijuana space, you should be in that group. There's a lot of good discussion, a lot of good information, news postings. It's just a tool that you need to utilize. So someone posted that TRST is going blue sky breakout on Monday and into next week. And, now's the time to go all in and all that. And my comment was, I will eat a raw potato on video if TRST hits an all-time high next week. So, like my banana bet with APHA, which I fortunately won, I'm going to eat a raw potato if we get 26% more in the next 6 days of trading. So the reason I'm comfortable making that bet is how extended the bulls are already at this point. The weekly time frame is extremely extended. S&P 500 giving us a little bit of sign of some consolidation. On the daily time frame here, just in the last 7 days of trading, we've already gone 32%. So I like the odds in my favor, but I'm a man of my word, and we'll see. So strong close, hourly higher low on TRST is here at 1198 and another support at 1187. And again, a nice, real strong close up at the high of the day. Also want to talk about ZYNE. I guess that's US. We'll wait till the US section there. HEXO. HEXO got the bull follow through over 794 today for continuation to higher highs, but also pulled back from that. So on the hourly time frame, we had a huge turnaround, and it looks like a bit of an equilibrium where we have our high, low the dump, lower high, and we're looking for a higher low compared to 763. You're going to see equilibriums, the most common when we have big volatility. And that's obviously two very volatile hourly candlesticks with big wicks and a wide range. So that's when we look for equilibriums. So it's all about 763 support tomorrow. If we form a higher low, we'll have a tightening hourly range to be watching during tomorrow's trading. If we break that support level, it's a clear change in the hourly trend. And then on the daily chart, we're going to look to form a higher low. The last daily higher low was 708, so the bulls certainly have 10% plus space to work with, about 10%. So we will look for a higher low to form. It's just that hourly time frame is going to tell us if hourly consolidation is coming or not. OGI on the daily time frame, a little bit of a laggard out of the three names here, but still strong. It's an inside bar with a double top at $7.99. After that is $8.15. If tomorrow we can't break $8 and we break $7.77, we know we need to pull back and form another higher low on the daily. If we break $8, $8.15 resistance is next. So overall, bulls are holding up just fine, like I said, but it's, I guess, the bulls hoping for a little bit more follow through after seeing what TRST and HEXO were able to do with their continuation moves. OGI has not seen the continuation move over 8.15 just yet. VFF, congrats to the bulls. Huge run. And this has helped keep the euphoria alive in this sector when you see these kind of gains over the past few weeks and especially over the past few days. Highest volume ever on the U.S. side of things today with the uplisting. That's not surprising, trading roughly 18 million or so. And the bulls are extremely strong at this point. Blue sky breakout, ideal scenario. 1335 will be resistance, followed by 14 psychological. Hourly higher low is down at 1246. Bulls showed up first thing this morning, breaking that high of 1182, confirming the end of the day hourly bear or bull flag. One thing that definitely stands out is this amount of profit taking. That's very notable volume. That's the most significant bear volume that we've seen on this entire run. And I can say that because I look at this candlestick and you say, well, that's the same volume, but there's a wick there. And that shows me bulls bought that dip. That's some bull buying as well. Whereas this is a red Marabozu candlestick, which shows the bears controlling the entirety of that candlestick and closing down at the low. So that's not enough for me to exit a position, but that's enough for me. I'm not in a position. This is hypothetical, but that would be enough for me to say, all right, if we lose that higher low on the hourly, establishing a game plan for a potential exit. And I know there's a lot of diehard longs in this name, and that's great, but there is also the ability to scale out into strength and reload on consolidation. We see it all the time in this sector. Cron just ran blue sky bulls in full control, and then we pulled back 25% over 4 days. So there's opportunity. We know we're going to pull back. The question is, just trying to time that top is obviously difficult, which is why I don't try and time tops. I scale out partial positions, and it's all about the hourly uptrend. Lose the hourly uptrend, we'll look for some healthy daily consolidation. T-God, not the kind of follow through the bulls we're looking for. They wanted to see another solid green day here. We did break the high of today, so that's at least a start, but if we were to come back down here and break 352 without being able to break 385, that's a bit of a red flag. So bulls still holding on. Let's see if the hourly uptrend is intact. It is. Key short-term support is 367, and bulls want to break 370, 3 and 377 first thing to try and continue this hourly uptrend. And I would be watching this. These two levels are the most important for me on the daily time frame for TGOD as to whether or not we're going to see continuation or not. And on the daily time frame, this is one to watch for tomorrow. I anticipate a break tomorrow for more clarity and a spike in volume with how tight we've gotten over the past couple of days. So just looking at the short term, and we're looking at 115 key resistance and 110 key support. That is the range to be watching. 116 is right behind it, so we'll just default to 116. That's the 6 cents range to be watching. We are right in the middle of it, and that is going to dictate if we get a bull break, we're heading up to the key 123 resistance. If we get a bear break, we have the equilibrium continuing to tighten up, and we'll look for a higher low compared to 98 cents if we break 110-cent support. KHRN, first time covering this one. This is a small cap runner, blue sky breakout as well. And I generally don't like to throw a name like this on, and I actually meant to cover it yesterday and forgot, but I don't like to throw a name like this into my analysis because this is not a name that I'd be buying right now. You know, if you're in this move, great, there's no reason to sell. But if you're not in this move, waiting for daily consolidation is the better risk to reward play. We've seen a higher low every single day, 7 days in a row. We are certainly extended. We're in blue sky breakout, so we can stay extended. But again, just risk to reward scenario. You don't want to be trying to jump on to the FOMO train at this point. So hourly, higher low trying to hold at 382. And even just the pullback from the high. I mean, these names are so volatile. Where we pulled back from that high to that low, we're talking 33 cents, which is roughly, quick head math, 8% or so from that pullback. I forgot my handy tool. 7.8, that's pretty on point. So, again, if you can sit through an 8% pullback and be comfortable, that's great. I personally cannot do that. So, we'll see if the bulls can maintain the hourly uptrend and stay in blue sky breakout mode. Lose the hourly uptrend, we're going to look to pull back and form a higher low, which has not happened since back at 245 a long time ago, or at least a long percentage ago. So now we're getting back to the U.S. names, ZYNE. And this is one that shout out to Chart Gals Lori in our chat room who posted this news back when we were under $5. And we had a big bull run and big bull volume. So essentially they had news that they have received an international patent for transdermal application for CBD for arthritis. And it looks like it's just the application procedure with the CBD. I'm no patent expert by any means, but we had an initial run up on that news, and it hasn't even been released as news. It was just the application came out, and then it spread over social media, kind of like how we've seen these uplisting approval letters come out, and then the news comes out afterwards. So we had the initial bull spike. Then we found out about this news and it was posted down here. So a lot of us loaded right around $5 and big time 10% move following through, scaling profit out. I do still have a small position left. I scaled out 2/3. So again, I sell into strength. I sold on the initial leg up and then I sold on this pullback from the high, and I'm holding 1/3 of my position, and I'll probably sell it tomorrow. But bottom line is, do your research if you're interested in, what this patent actually means. Not sure if this company is still developing this patent or the product that got the patent. Bottom line is the weekly time frame is a red flag. This tells me there's a lot of dilution likely going on. If you're going to drop from $26 to $275, I know they had bad news on their products in the past with their trial results for some CBD applications, but just want to be very cautious of this one. This is without a doubt a trader for me and a quick flipper. And we rejected from resistance, and that led to the profit taking. 558 is our daily lower high, and we got up to 555 and then pulled back, significantly, 10% from that high of the day to where we pulled back to. So worth checking out if you're interested in the fundamentals or that patent, but other than that, just want to be very cautious with the trading action here. KSHB stood out as a lead bull on my screen. This is the U.S. names now. And we had a break of resistance of $6, and we broke 620 to get that follow through as well. So always good to see that follow through and break multiple resistance levels whenever possible. And now it's just 635. And after 635, there's a lack of resistance. So if the bulls are able to break that level, that's a complete shift in the momentum. And on the weekly time frame, that's going to give us nice follow through. I do anticipate a weekly equilibrium where we have, essentially, if we look at the low the high of the bounce, the low of the dump in response to dilution news, and we're now just looking for our lower high. So it might not be set yet. If we break 635, we can keep making our way up towards 720, but just be aware that, again, this is how I do my analysis. I look at the broader time frames and I say, okay, what's the most likely scenario? And then I say, okay, the most likely scenario here is we're going to see a lower high compared to 720. So I then look for clues on the shorter term time frames that are going to indicate that that is indeed playing out. So if we were to lose the daily uptrend, then we say, all right, our weekly lower high is set as we anticipated, and we're going to look to continue tightening that weekly range. But as of right now, we have a nice hourly uptrend and a solid bull move. Support is 606. Another level at the end of the day of 612. So if the bulls can hold 612 tomorrow and break 629, we're going to be looking at that key 635 resistance, and we'll see if the bulls can keep up their momentum. CURA. So this is what I was talking about yesterday with bulls buying the dip on a break, and we have two examples here, and we'll look at CWeb next. But CURA broke support, multiple inside bars, bear break, and I highlighted how this is the ideal scenario for a bull. When you break support and you see a strong bounce, that tells you to zoom out and look for the potential of a bull flag. So on the daily time frame, or actually let's see if it's showing up on the weekly, not on the weekly really. So this is, I mean, depending on what time frame you're looking at, I would say it's a little bit drawn out on the daily time frame to be a bull flag. If you're looking at the weekly chart, it started its shape as a little bit of a bull flag. The bottom line is the fact that we broke support and didn't get any follow through is a great sign. And then of course today the bulls show up in a huge way. Specifically at the end of the day, look at the bull volume pouring in with a huge surge into the close. And we're now going to be looking up at 1068 resistance as the bulls look to continue this uptrend. We'd never lost the daily uptrend. This pullback was looking to set a higher low. Inside bar. There's our higher low now, very convincingly set at 950. And just like that, we have bounced almost 10% off of that level. So let's see if the bulls can break 1068 here and get continuation on their follow through. Again, remember that cup and handle we were talking about. And if we can keep this up for the bulls, we're going to be looking right back towards that all-time high if we can break 1068. Keep CURA on watch. It is definitely one of the major players in the U.S. space worth paying attention to. CWeb, complete opposite scenario. We broke key 19 support. We closed at the low of the day yesterday, so we knew to say, all right, be patient, be cautious. We might see further downside. Increasing bear volume, close at the low of the day. Completely opposite scenario. A break of support and a huge dump on volume, as opposed to a break of support and the bulls buy the dip and completely recover very quickly. So in this instance, we're still looking at weekly consolidation, and it's still healthy in terms of we're going to form a higher low on the weekly, but it's no longer a potential bull flag in my opinion. I am interested in this oversold bounce tomorrow. This is one to be watching for. The hourly RSI is down oversold. I would love to see a break of 1765 first thing tomorrow morning, a flush down to the low 17s, the lower the better, and then we'll look for that hourly bounce to take place. So that's, when I prepare my morning game plan and I'm scouting through tickers and liking different setups, this is one where I write it down and say, watch for a quick flush and a bounce first thing to look for this hourly oversold play. So going to be watching for CWeb, and anything under 1836 will just be an hourly lower high. And again, you're talking long-term entries, specifically in the U.S. sector. We just had CWeb with a massive bull run of 85% to blue sky breakout, and now from that top, we have pulled back 22%. So again, that's why you want to scale out, because we know there's always opportunities to reload at some point. And I am interested, again, talking long-term positions and things like that. You want to be entering long-term positions on weekly consolidation at this point in this sector, as opposed to, trying to enter a name like VFF or any of these other weekly names that are just a straight shot up. In my opinion, you want to be waiting for the weekly consolidation. So we are interested in CWeb to be looking for this weekly higher low. GTII, nice bullish day, following through. So we had the bull day yesterday, increasing bull volume today. Higher low on the daily is established now at 1769. Clear bull break of 1968, and the next resistance is now 2158. So psychological levels, 21 and then 2158, and just beautiful continuation. Higher low established. This was another name that we highlighted it over the weekend and said, big bull move, nice bull break, but it's extended at this point, and ideally entering on consolidation. And at this point, from consolidation, we've now seen a 10% plus bull move for follow through. Hourly support to keep the bulls in full control on GTII is trying to form at 1956. And again, the weekly chart with its beautiful higher low and higher high, confirming the weekly trend change, was great last week, and now we're seeing follow through. IAN. So we got that pump yesterday at the end of the day, and we got another pump today at the end of the day. So I'm not sure if it's that same group or what. It's all speculation. Way more volume yesterday, but without a doubt, 3 o'clock power hour comes around and big bull volume comes in and we push to higher highs. So the daily time frame still strong. And we are looking at apparently the group that is running this right now. And again, I don't have the name off the top of my head, but they are going to be presenting a black book on their thesis of why IAN is potentially going to double or triple sometime in the next few years. And they're doing that sometime in March. So that's worth paying attention to if you're in this company here. But hourly support on IAN, higher low is 753. And the next resistance we're looking at after 8 psychological, we're going to be looking up at, and actually 792 was a key level that we only barely broke. Need more follow through over 8. And then we're looking at 850 and 869. So that's a lot of names. This is one of the longer videos ever. And congrats to the bulls. This is, again, ideal environment. And we'll see how long that ideal environment keeps up. Certainly money all over the place in the MJ sector, specifically with all these uplistings and more exposure to the US and bigger money and bigger hedge funds and bigger institutions. So it's always fun. People ask me, why am I trading? Why don't I just trade SPY every day and just lock in, base hits and know that there's enough volatility in the overall market? And the reason is, my answer is, number one, it's way more profitable for me to trade MJ, just statistically speaking, looking at my past. And number two is it's more fun. I have way more fun trading a sector that I'm interested in the development of, and the consolidation of companies, and who are the front runners and their product lines. And, the whole reason I'm a trader is because I was interested in hemp and CBD, industrial hemp, back in 2010. And honestly, I had two paths. I was at a fork in the road early in college, and it was like, well, I'm either going to go to Canada and get into the fields and into the dirt and learn about this plant and learn how to farm it and profit on it that way when the U.S. laws change. Or I entered down this path of, stocks, the easier route, which I never anticipated would lead to this, but here we are. So at the end of the video today, I want to talk about lucid dreaming. I had a big old lucid dream yesterday, first time in a long time. Put out a video, Intro to Lucid Dreaming, so check that out on our web or on our YouTube. I put that out a while ago. It's something that I have developed or been developing as I was road tripping around, and it's a skill that you can learn, and there's exercises to make you better at it. And I haven't been doing it much recently because ever since starting TheChartGuys, my head is so focused on numbers and charts and managing the company and the chat room and all that. It's really takes up my mental capacity. And it's a lifestyle that you need to live because there's exercises that you do, thought processes throughout the day that help you become lucid, but the ability to realize your dreaming and enter a world where physics don't exist and you can literally be the creator, and there's limitless potential of the exploration, both inner and outer, that you can experience in lucid dreaming. And just last night, so I was sitting outside in my dream with a woman at an outdoor restaurant, and I realized I was lucid. And I don't know who this woman was, but I tried to, make her conscious as well. I was saying, look at your hands. We're in a dream right now. This is a dream. And she wasn't getting it. So I stood up and just started smashing everything and yelling to everybody that we were in a dream, and then went off on adventures for a bit further. But I've had experiences where I have died in a dream where I was lucid, and I feel like that prepared me for death in real life. I feel like I know what it's like to die and feel the blood leave my body. So it's deep. There's great books out there. Check out the intro video. And I have, when I put out that intro video, people did respond to me and say, hey, I had my first lucid dream last night. And literally just talking about it increases the odds that you're going to do it. And that's happened multiple times. I was in a hot spring in Colorado and talking about it there because I was in the middle of my practice. And this woman the next morning said, wow, I had a lucid dream after our conversation. So spark the interest and explore your inner realms. Have a great day. Do good things. 30 minutes long. It's a doozy.